Welcome to the new season of The Big Hit. We don't play sicko mode, we don't play Mo Bamba, but we do play sports. I'm going to be your host for the evening, the flow that glows, Stephen Langdon Jr. And on tap today, we have an MLB roundtable. We got the NHL with Mike Costa, Jake Taylor, and then we also finish out with the NBA roundtable. So stay tuned here on The Big Hit. Welcome back to The Big Hit. I'm Stephen Langdon, joined by Will Barbera, Jake Slobonic, and Nick Dudowski. How are you boys doing? First episode of the season, so let's get it started, huh?
I'm pumped. I'm pumped to get this over with. Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to be talking a little bit of MLB baseball. The Pittsburgh Pirates have made moves, but those have been put into question. First, how do you feel about the moves so far?
Terrible. So far, the Pirates have become MLB's official retirement home, folks. They have signed Francisco Liriano, Melky Cabrera, and if not anything, my dead grandpa to a minor league contract. Their AAA team is going to be stacked. You can't win a World Series trophy though with an H team and a AAA club like that. So I don't agree with the moves at all. I like some of the moves, like Lonnie Chisenhall. That was a good move. Even though that's a little bit more outfield depth. Eric Gonzalez was a nice sign for shortstop. It seems to me that the Pirates and the Indians love trading players with each other. Maybe that'll be the theme in 2019. But some moves are good, but for the majority, nope.
I'm going to be a little more optimistic with it, Jake. I actually like the moves just because we've seen, although they're old, maybe older than my parents, I'm not sure. We've seen great things from them in the past. Like Liriano, he spent 4 seasons with the Pirates. He won 41-36. So I think him and Ray Sears got great chemistry together. He was averaging 6 strikeouts a game, and the 6 teams he's played for in his career, the only one that was NL was the Pirates, so I'm optimistic about him coming back to Pittsburgh, as well as Melky Cabrera. He might spend this entire season in the minor leagues, who knows? But he did have an epic season in 2012 when he posted a .345 batting average. So very optimistic about these two guys coming to the Pirates. Maybe that's the veteran presence they need in the locker room.
I can't be anything but disappointed with these signings. I mean, you have Liriano is 35 and Melky Cabrera is 34. Melky Cabrera spent most of last season in the minor leagues before spending a little bit of time with, I believe, Kansas City. And, you know, there isn't a lot to be proud of there. I mean, Pittsburgh is in a rebuild mode. I don't know why they're signing players that, like you said, are in retiring homes, basically. I mean, I think both of these guys have Louisville Slugger make canes for them. So, yeah, I don't see the upside in it. I think if I were them, I'd be trying to make some trades, get some prospects in, so sometime in the near future they can actually be competitive. But I just don't see it here.
Yeah, the only thing the Pirates will be competing for is the Governor's Cup and the AAA. But anyway, do you see anyone on the market realistically in a Pirates uniform right now?
I do. Just one big name that I've been saying all offseason. Well, actually, 2 big names. One, Jose Iglesias filling in the 6th gap at shortstop. But that's not really a necessity, as Eric Gonzalez has some good promise to him. Another one, Marwin Gonzalez, a utility player that can play anywhere around the diamond. He's been overshadowed in Houston just because of the overall talent they have down there in Texas. I think the Berg would be a great fit for him. Pirates drop like flies, so Marwin would be able to fill in the gaps perfectly. He's got nice contact, he's got power, he's great on defense. Overall, just a stellar player.
I agree. I think Marwin Gonzalez would be a great pick for the Pirates to pick up here. He not only could play the infield, he's very versatile around the infield. He's also can play the outfield. So if you need to give guys like Starling Marte, Corey Dickerson a day off, why not just put him back out there in the outfield? Maybe give Gung some time in the infield. But also, I'd like to see a stellar reliever that's surprisingly still on the market, Craig Kimbrell. He's still on the market. I think that'd be a great acquisition because every year the Pirates their downfall seems to be their bullpen rather. Their rotation's fantastic. So if we just get the bullpen together, I think they can get it done.
I like the Marvin Gonzalez idea. I think that would add a lot of depth, not only to your bench, but to your outfield. He's also, being one of those utility guys. You can put him anywhere. Guys need days off, so I do like that signing. One thing, Josh Harrison, who was a Pirate, he is still a free agent. You guys need some more infield depth. I think he could be coming back to Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, so not really big money moves that the Pirates can make. Obviously, they don't like to splash the cash out there.
They made their wild card appearance 2013 and 2014. They've done enough in their eyes.
Yeah, pretty much. But moving on, we got two of the biggest names on the market. You mentioned Kimbrel before, but the two names above him, Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. Who do you believe will go to a team first, and where will they go?
You know what, Steve? I think both these guys are at a stalemate right now. I think both of them want one or the other to sign. So Bryce Harper's not going to sign until he sees what Machado wants, and Machado's not going to sign until he sees what Harper's getting. I don't think it's smart for Machado. I think Bryce Harper's going to get more no matter what, just because that's the player Bryce Harper is. But yeah, I think both guys, they want long-term contracts. I could see Bryce Harper going to Philadelphia. I think he'd be fantastic there. I think they'd win the NL, honestly, if he went to Philadelphia. But Machado, I see him. They both want long-term deals. I see Machado getting the long-term deal that he wants from the Chicago White Sox, and they're currently the favorite to land him right now. So they don't have much to work with around Machado, but he didn't have much to work with in Baltimore too. So
I like what you said about both of them. Machado, the White Sox are pulling all in for him, so I think he's the likely candidate. But with each waking day that passes, there's more of a chance that the Yankees will come out on top and sign Machado. It's been going around now for weeks that he's going to go to New York. I don't like the idea. I hate the idea, actually. But with each day coming, Machado could go either to the White Sox or the Yankees. I'm going for the White Sox. Back on to Bryce Harper. I love the fact that he's going to – I really think he's going to go to Philly. It not only makes sense, but the 5-hour Vegas meeting they had, or I don't know if it was in Vegas, but
It was
Vegas. Yeah, the 5-hour meeting they had, overall stellar. That and the way they attracted people this offseason. Rhys Hoskins now moves back to first base with the loss of Carlos Santana. Andrew McCutchen takes over in right field, plus Odubel Herrera in center. It just makes sense to sign Bryce, put him in left field. That, with a contending club on the rise like the Phillies, he wants to go somewhere that can win a title potentially, or at least make it to the big dance, and the Phillies are that place.
I absolutely agree. I think Bryce Harper, Bob Nightingale reported that it's basically a two-horse race right now between the Phillies and the Giants. And between the two teams, if I'm Bryce Harper, there's one clear choice there. I mean, the Giants are in a long process of a rebuild right now, and Harper's already said he doesn't want any short-term contracts, and the Giants really don't have the cap space to sign him to a long-term contract in his price range. And we know that Bryce Harper's looking at about a $300 million contract. If not, I mean, right now the largest contract in MLB history is, of course, Giancarlo Stanton's on the Yankees of $325 million over the course of 10 years. I think he's going to get at least $300 million, if not over that, especially with a signing bonus or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
As for Machado, I mean, there have been a couple reports about him. I saw the White Sox offered him a 7-year, $175 million contract. That's probably below what he's going to get. I think that might have just been a tone setter. The Yankees apparently offered him like 8 years, $220 million. That's more realistic, I think, but I think the Yankees have too much of a logjam on the infield with guys like Didi Gregorius coming back, Gleyber Torres. You got the guy who finished second in the AL Rookie of the Year voting last year with Miguel Andujar. You're not going to sign Machado to play first base. And then apparently the San Diego Padres put out the biggest offer for Harper, but it hasn't been
contenders by any means. So Machado won't go to the Padres.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I think they put a huge offer on the table for him, but I don't think he wants to go there. He already said he's still deciding on whether or not he would even consider playing there. So I see him going to the White Sox, and I see Harper going to the Phillies as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, just from looking at the reports a couple weeks ago, I saw Harper was going to the Phillies just because it seems as though he likes what Kepler has to bring, and then also making big money moves in the offseason. The Phillies, maybe adding Harper would put him over the edge. And I really see Machado going to the White Sox. I think they have the most to offer him. You know, big city, he's really going to be the star. And they have a bunch of young players there, so I think those are two big teams that are going to be making the money moves. But moving on, news came out this week that Kyler Murray, the 9th overall pick by the Oakland Athletics, is going to choose football over baseball. What are your guys' thoughts on the move, and is this the right move for him?
Absolutely, it's the smartest move for Kyler Murray because at least if he goes to the NFL, he has a chance of being drafted by someone who could potentially be like the Cleveland Browns. See him go to maybe like the Cardinals, somewhere like that need a veteran quarterback like Kyler Murray. He can come in here, he can completely be like Baker Mayfield when he went to Cleveland. He can turn the franchise upside down, do absolutely just amazing things, but if not better than Baker Mayfield. Kyler Murray has a better arm than Baker, and I'm a huge Mayfield advocate, but Kyler Murray, definitely a smart choice. That the A's weren't willing to pay what he wanted. And definitely with his talents in baseball, he deserves a big contract if you ask me. And in football, you don't have a chance of going to the minors right away. Kyler Murray had the chance of maybe staying in AAA for the entire season. He wants to be in prime time, and I like that decision. So Kyler Murray going to the NFL is a smart decision for him.
Yeah, definitely. He'll pick up his career way faster coming to the NFL. Like you said, he'd spent a lot of time going through the farm system, all that stuff. So definitely, I think it was the right decision for him to decide on the NFL. Plus, he'll get plenty of more endorsements. Although he might contract CTE way quicker than he would have had he played baseball. But yeah, I think it was a good move for him. And yeah.
I completely agree. I think it's a great move for him. Baseball contracts often are much more than NFL contracts, so especially with signing bonuses and stuff like that. So especially if you're as good as Kyler Murray is, I've seen some highlights of him. He's a heck of a ball player. But you don't win the Heisman Trophy unless you're a hell of a football player either. So I think if this is truly his dream, then he can go out there and be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL if he puts his mind to it. So
and I think he made the right decision. Declare that he was going to play in the NFL before the NFL draft. Now teams are willing to spend their first-round pick on him. Now that they know that he will devote his time to their franchise, he will be their franchise star. And I've only seen one player like Kyler Murray in my life, and that's Baker Mayfield. His predecessor at Oklahoma. So if he's anything like Baker, I think Baker's going to turn the Browns franchise around. I think Kyler Murray could turn another NFL franchise around.
Yeah, the thing I saw in Kyler Murray, great athlete, probably one of the best athletes I've ever seen. Unfortunately, was not able to see someone like Bo Jackson, but I wouldn't be surprised if he signs that NFL contract and then, kind of does a Tim Tebow towards the later part of his career and tries to go back to baseball if it doesn't really pan out. And I think that it would be a good decision for him because then he can, play in the NFL, kind of earn his money, and then if he wants to go back to baseball, he can go back to baseball. But only time will tell, and Kyler Murray will for sure be a top 10 draft pick, I think, in this coming NFL draft.
For sure.
And that will do it for the baseball segment. Welcome back to the Big Hit. I'm your host, joined by Mike Costa, Jake Taylor. Boys, how are we doing?
We're doing good,
I'm doing
baby.
fine, Steve. How the hell are you?
I'm doing great.
Doing great, baby. How the hell are you?
Fantastic. Never
That's
been
right,
better.
baby. That's right.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking some NHL, and boys, let's get it started. You had some early predictions back in December. So, are those predictions still the same, or did they change?
A few of them changed. Big one I had Calgary falling off the wagon. They stayed atop the league. Mm-hmm. However, I don't like to touch on things that I'm wrong about because I'm not usually wrong, Steve. Don't fact check me on that because you'll probably be wrong. Mikko Rantanen, I had him falling down out of the top 5 and McKinnon passing him, but he's still 5th in the league right now in scoring. McKinnon's only a point behind him at 74. But still, that's not too bad. San Jose, I had them going up. San Jose went up. They passed Calgary, but they're still top of the league. Vegas, unfortunately, they're still doing well. I don't like them doing well. I hate to see it. You hate to see it. Everyone hates to see it unless you like Marc-Andre Fleury. Then if that's the case, but I know, Mike, you had some great predictions, so why don't you just share
That's
those?
right. We both had Calgary falling. I don't think they were going to make. I mean, they got Johnny Hockey over there.
Yeah.
They got Dougie Hamilton, but the team as a whole,
But
not too great.
When he eats a sandwich, it's not ham and cheese. It's just ham.
He's
it's
sick.
just bread,
dude.
ham, and
He's
bread.
sick. Not even
Who
pepper
does
jack.
that?
Not even pepper jack.
Who does that?
Like,
No one
he's
does
sick.
that.
He's sick. San Jose going up. I had that right. Joe Thornton, Joe Pavelski, the Wild Hogs over there, the old guys.
Yeah.
They brought in what's his name, Evander Kane.
Evander Kane,
They were
Erik
killing it over
Karlsson.
there. Yeah, goaltending's real good, so I had that.
The Swede with the stash, bro.
So I'm 1 for 2.
You're competing with him.
That's right, baby. Hit bar down. We had Edmonton, or I had Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton's Edmonton. I had them doing terrible. If you trade the best player in all of hockey, Wayne Gretzky, I mean, you're a terrible franchise at that. You should just sell I mean, you might as well just go to Seattle and just sell the franchise to there, make some money out of it. So you caught me off guard. I had as a midseason prediction the Penguins winning the Stanley Cup. And while that didn't happen for my mid-season prediction, the good news is for Penguins fans, no other team won the Stanley Cup. So, and then my last one, I had Tampa Bay, Boston, and Toronto leading the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
And that's where they are, baby.
That's where they are.
Right at the top.
You know, Mike.
You know, we're talking about the big three of the Atlantic Division: Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay. Have any of these teams made any significant improvements from last season, and could they compete with these metropolitan teams?
Honestly, I am so surprised that Tampa Bay, specifically last season, didn't make that step forward. They've been in the hunt, obviously because the Atlantic Division always comes up to play in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Metro, but they still can't get past the hump. They got past it once. They got waxed by Patrick Kane and Duncan Keith and Chicago Blackhawks and lost in the Stanley Cup Final. But I think it's John Cooper who can't get them past that stage because on paper they are easily the best team in hockey. I can't believe how stacked this Tampa Bay Lightning team is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They are ridiculous. They have all the grizzled vets that you need to win.
Vets,
they have
baby.
Girardi, they have Callahan, they have Stamkos, they have Hedman.
And they picked up the
They
rest
have
of New York's
Callahan.
roster, but yeah.
Yeah, and then they have all these other young guys, which is just they have Yanni Gordon,
Yeah.
Kucherov, who's unbelievably talented. He's probably going to win MVP, like you were saying earlier, Steve. Yeah, he's definitely MVP. He has 422 games played, 422 points. You don't see that often, especially now in the NHL. Maybe before, but it's a very competitive league. Vasilevsky's a fantastic goalie, so I can't see how they can't get past that hump. As for Toronto, again making big mid-season acquisitions that I'm going to get to after. Mike, how are you feeling about these Atlantic teams?
Feeling pretty good, actually. Because, little stat for you, 4-1 the Metropolitan. The last 10 years, Metropolitan has 4 Stanley Cups, 3 of them by the Penguins, and Boston was the only one that won one. I think when it comes to the big stage, they didn't really pull it together. You know, you see Tampa Bay, they could win a couple President's Trophies, whatever. I think that the competition together, it's not the most competitive division, but they're just going to, they're going to take each other out. Boston, I think, is the one that's going to come out. I think Boston's the best team. Boston's got a lot of young guys. And then Tuukka Rask, people are iffy about him. I think he's been there, done that before. I think Boston's going to kill it. Coaching's great. Zdeno Chara, 6'9", great player, great defenseman. I think Boston's going to come out of that.
Yeah.
But versus Metropolitan, I think the Metropolitan still comes out on top.
Contrary to what you were saying, Mike, I think Toronto has what it takes this year. Tampa chokes too much. John Cooper doesn't have what it takes. But big Mike Babcock, he's got those young guns over in Toronto. He knows how to dangle them. They signed Nylander to a huge contract. They want him to stay. They signed Tavares. Veterans like Marleau, they have Tavares. Frederick Anderson. They got to give him a little less time. You can't start him that much because he's just going to get tired come postseason. Yeah. So that's what they're looking for right now, some goalie depth. But the sky's the limit for them. They're still young. Mitch Marner's killing it. That's what they have to worry about in the offseason, paying him big money, which they will. But right now, they got what it takes right now, the young talent, fresh legs to come in there and beat the Metro out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Austin Matthews also signing his big new contract as well, making him one of the best paid players in the NHL. But I'm actually saying Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay has the most complete team in the NHL, in my opinion.
Yeah, with all these teams, it's the same thing with the Patriots. I feel like until somebody beats the Patriots and Tom Brady, like, I don't know. With Tampa Bay hasn't been there. They haven't done it. Boston's done it. Metropolitan's done it. So until somebody beats the Penguins or Washington now, like, I still have Boston if we're talking about them.
Yeah, definitely. But moving on to the Pittsburgh Penguins, Evgeny Malkin unfortunately did commit a rough penalty and getting ejected and also sustaining a suspension. So overall, what do you think the Penguins should do considering trading Malkin or possibly, what should they do in the deadline essentially?
I say we trade him, dude.
Trade Malkin.
I say we trade Malkin. I say we mix it up. We got a lot, dude. We're loaded on offense. We've got like 4 players with 50+ points. You got the best player in the league who can do it all. Very versatile, like Mario and Luigi, if that makes sense. Was that a weird analogy? Defense, they're not too great. Letang has way too many minutes. I think that they should get a defense. I don't think the Jack Johnson whole situation works. Doesn't have a lot of points. Plus minus is terrible. Plus minus has always been terrible. I think he's like -70 with the Kings or whatever, or Columbus 2 total.
Hey,
but
fun fact though, 3rd best plus minus in the league, Brian Dumoulin.
Really?
Yeah.
Give that guy more time. Give Brian Russ more time. That was my next point, dude. Give these younger guys more time. Trade. Maybe get a little. We'll talk about it with the deadline next week. Maybe get a little Dougie Hamilton action.
Oh,
maybe.
Like the doggy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what I mean. But and to that note, I think that Pittsburgh should trade. They should. Well, if they trade Malkin, I think they're going to trade. If they trade anyone, I think Malkin would go to Vegas. I think that'd be a very nice trade. But regardless, I think they should trade Chris Letang. Here's why. Chris Letang's having a fantastic season right now. They won a Stanley Cup without Letang. Clearly, they don't need a win without. Clearly, they don't need Letang to win. They don't. They already won without him. So what's that say? The last Stanley Cup the Pittsburgh Penguins won, Chris Letang was not on the freaking roster because he was hurt. So boo-hoo. He had a terrible season last year. He comes back. His trade stock has skyrocketed. Listen, I don't care what he's done for the organization. I'm grateful for what he's done. He's won his 2 Stanley Cups, not 3 like the rest of them have, like Crosby and Malkin have.
Yeah.
But he goes, we can get a lot for him. We can get our future. These guys are getting old. Malkin's getting old. Crosby's getting old. Letang's getting old. Justin Schultz is coming back from injury. Justin Schultz is a fantastic defenseman. You saw what he could do in the finals 2 years ago. I think he's a great fit on the power play, too. The Penguins' power play has been lacking. I think you get Letang out of there. He's playing too many minutes anyway. You get Letang out when Schultz comes back. You get him healthy. You trade Letang. Vegas, they have a plethora of picks that you can give us. They have some great, young, gritty talent that I think Mike Sullivan can really do a lot with.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think Chris Letang would be a great trade. I think the Penguins would really make out of it. Chris Letang could start a new career like Fleury did in Vegas. Great fan base, successful team there too, and I think both teams would make out.
That will do it here from the NHL on The Big Hit. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Big Hit. I'm your host, joined by Jeff Hart, Garrett Clark, and Hunter Mitchell. And we're going to be talking about a little bit about basketball and the NBA. With the Lakers being below 500, it's the first time since LeBron's rookie year he has been below 500. Do you think the Lakers can make the playoffs? And if so, what do they need to do to get there?
Well, I think they will make the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. Right now, they're 2.5 games behind the Sacramento Kings for that 8th spot. The Kings, yes, they have some youth. They do have De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley, Buddy Hield. They have some guys, and they just added Harrison Barnes. So they definitely have some players. But it's LeBron James. You can take teams that you couldn't think could even get above 500 and take them there. I mean, that Cavs team last year was just pathetic and anemic. No offense. I'm sorry. Not to put any disparaging words on them, but the starters on there were not very talented. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. So LeBron can do things that most teams can't. However, the West is too tight to just. He can't do what he did with Cleveland. I'm sorry. There's too many good teams in the West to do that. I think just to get them there, ride LeBron. That's all you have to do. Ride LeBron and go to Kuzma more. Kuzma is your second offensive choice. You just need to ride him. If LeBron can put up 30 to 40 points and then Kuzma do the other 25 to 30, you're set.
Yeah, I agree. I think LeBron can lead the team to the second round, I think if they get a decent seed, if they can make a run and get a 6th seed, they'll make the second round. But they can't do anything when they get there. They don't have any talent to compete with the rest of the West. The worst Western Conference teams could easily make the playoffs in the East. There's no competition between the two. So I don't think that he can do what he did with Cleveland.
Yeah, we have to look at it that almost every Western Conference team has like at least 2 All-Stars. The top teams do, so that's going to be a tough thing by himself to do, especially with that young core and some like role players like Rondo, and they recently got Reggie Bullock from the Pistons and all that stuff. Just not really anyone that great.
Well, and not only that, placement has a huge part of it. Even if he does get into playoffs, they're most likely going to get the 8th seed. Let's be real.
Yeah.
They're most likely going to get the 8th, and guess who they're going to go up against?
Warriors.
Probably Golden State. And I don't think anyone in the right mind is going to say they're going to beat the Warriors. And that's not to speak negatively on the Lakers. They are a talented team. They have a lot to build on. They have a lot of great young talent. I think that they could go forward if they learn how to utilize their assets properly, get the coaching situation fixed. They need to work out some stuff because I don't think there's a lot of good feelings between coaching and management right now because Magic wants his own staff there. LeBron has said stuff about Luke Walton. I think Walton is a great coach. I think he'll have a place somewhere in the league. And when Golden State had that 73-win season, Luke Walton took over for the second half of that season, and they did so well with him. So obviously Luke Walton has displayed that he is a superb coach. But I think the Lakers got to get their act together for next year, and they need to get another All-Star to pair with LeBron.
But moving on, it is tank ball season in the NBA, and teams and players are vying for that number 1 overall pick. Who do you think will have the best chance at getting that number 1 overall pick?
The Knicks. Let's bring it home. Let's bring it home to New York. We have had nothing good for the past 10 years. We had the Phil Jackson era. I sat through that. It's about time something good happened. I think the Porzingis trade was a step in the right direction. We got out of our cap issues. We need that 25% chance right now because Zion Williamson, our arms are open for you, buddy. We're waiting. We're waiting. Come home. Come home.
I agree. I think the Knicks with how many games that they've lost so far, and they just don't. They look like they're tanking, to be honest.
To be quite honest, it's quite apparent. They're definitely tanking. They've only won 10 games this year. I mean, they just lost against the Cavaliers. They're obviously not looking. I mean, what do you have to gain from it? What do you have to gain from it? It's not like Knicks fans are some of the most loyal fans because it's simply a big market team. New York fans are extreme teams. Like, they're extreme fans because you're a big market. You have so many people to appeal to, so you know they're going to fill the stadium. They're going to fill MSG no matter what. So at this point, tank, get a couple free agents, get a top pick.
Well, yeah, think about the potential of next year. If they get that number 1 pick, they draft Zion, they go out and get, I know Kyrie and KD were 2 people that they were talking about, but even if they got Kawhi Leonard out of the free agency to go along with either KD or Kyrie, that is instantly a contender, you have to think. I mean, that's
in the East, too.
Yeah, they're in the East. Zion looks like physically he can compete at the NBA level already. So, I mean, he's got to be the front runner for the Rookie of the Year going into next year.
Well, we also got to look at 2 other teams. The Cavs and the Suns are 2 teams that I know they usually do not do well. For some reason, even though they have talents like Devin Booker on the Suns and DeAndre Ayton, even though DeAndre Ayton hasn't even done a thing right now, so I don't know why.
Looking like a reach right now.
Yeah, it's looking like a bust like Greg Oden with the Trailblazers almost. But it's still his first year, so we'll just have to see how it goes. But that could be the 2 teams I could see getting a top pick, if not the Knicks.
Yeah, I definitely see. I'm actually going to put the Cavaliers ahead of the Knicks. I don't know. Kevin Knox, he had that conversation the other day, and he was saying that they're not here to tank. They're not here to tank. But what player doesn't say that?
I was about to say, who in their right mind is going to say, oh yeah, we're throwing away the season?
But I think the Cavaliers have even less talent than the Knicks do, and that's why I believe that the Cavaliers will actually have a better chance at getting that first overall pick. But overall, do you think that do you like the lottery, or is it should we just throw it away?
I like the lottery. I think that it gives other teams, especially with the NBA draft how it is, there's normally one surefire first pick. I mean, the NBA draft is boring because there's normally one person who you look at and say, there is a very good chance that they're number 1, if not pretty much a 100% chance, like this year with Zion. I mean, I think everybody looks at it as he's going to go number 1.
Well, Barrett might give him a contested, it might be close.
I think it's going to depend on the tournament, and it's going to depend on if Zion stays healthy and does what he's doing right now, he is going to be the number 1 pick with how physically built he is, with the potential that he has. So I like the lottery. I think it does allow people to tank more, but it gives other teams a chance to get into that spot as well.
Well, I'm not a fan because to me, I think it should just be a matter of, it should be based on your record like the NFL. To me, I feel it's unfair that if you had the worst record in the NBA and some team who did better than you jumps up like 2 spots. We've seen it happen before. Teams will jump up 2 spots. To me, I don't know. I don't think it's fair. Yes, it's fun for the fans, but if you're an NBA team that's struggling, you had a bad season, you're not tanking, you're a small market team, it's frustrating when you don't get to reap the benefit of that.
Yeah, but even it could benefit them because we've seen NBA drafts where players that become greats don't get picked until later. Look at when Steph Curry was drafted. 2 players, like the Timberwolves, I think, and one other team, he was after theirs pick, and look at him. He's an all-star player right now, and those 2 players that were picked aren't.
Garrett, for or against it?
For it.
Okay, great. I am also for it, and I think that the draft lottery adds much excitement to the NBA, but that is all the time we have for the NBA. That would do it here from The Big Hit. Hope you had a great time watching our first episode of the season. From your director, Ellie Hicks, and your producers, Jake Taylor, Mike Haas, and myself, Steve Landon Jr. We'll see you next week.
because the people who are ahead of them are the Kings, sitting in that 8th spot. They're 2.5 games behind. While the Kings do have a lot of youth, they have Marvin Bagley, they have the